new actors that have just moved to the city, what recommendations do you have for them to break into the business to better themselves?
Well, the performers I'm most drawn to now and always are the ones who are sponges, the ones who want to be a part of it all, the ones who want to, who make their presence known and want to soak it all up. And so, I can't tell you how often I go and I teach at a university, or I teach at I see a school showcase or something, or do a workshop with kids, and I say, look, let me know when you move, keep in touch, keep us posted. And a year later, they come to an EPA, and I was like, have you been here this whole time? You were my favorite in that class. And I was just waiting for you to follow up. But they said, oh, well, I figured you knew, school is over in June, and then I moved here by September. I'm like, I don't know that. I forgot about you 5 minutes after your showcase, but so I think sometimes it's about making yourselves known, even though it feels kind of grody. It's necessary. Our job is to receive that information. So it's valuable. In terms of things people can do when they get here, I think picking a lane is helpful. I think it's really helpful to kind of say, this is what I want to do. If that means you want to focus on straight plays at regional theaters, if that means you want to focus on Broadway musical, equity course calls for dancers, if that means you want to focus on getting a cruise ship or getting a tour, focusing on what you can, but then also deciding, who is your community? Who's the community that that makes the most sense to you, for you to be pursuing? Because that's gonna vary a lot. Figure out who those people are, who your heroes are, and find a way to know them. I mean, we all kind of operate in this 5-borough, really just 3 boroughs. It's like everybody's kind of in the same little, squish. With no offense to the Bronx and Staten Island. The day I moved to New York, I knew that the people that I wanted to work with more than anything in the world were, Stephen Sondheim and Hal Prince, and anyone remotely related to their body of work. It's almost 20 years later. I didn't get to work with either of them, and but at the same time, I'm ready. You can't exactly do it anymore, but I'm ready for those opportunities when they come, and I have worked with pretty much everyone they've worked with, right? So I think that knowing who your dreams, dream people are is helpful. I mean, it's really helpful to know who those folks are for you and be able to kind of hyper focus in that way. So if that means aspirationally following people on Twitter and Instagram, do it. I mean, you already probably do with Lin-Manuel and things like that, right? Figure out who the smaller players are that you might be able to start creating community with. I think that becomes a really valuable thing, and I think that over time you can start to achieve those dreams. I mean, but only if you have them in the first place. And and then it just goes to be culturally literate. This I can't stress enough. If you're pursuing musical theater in New York, I expect you to understand musical theater in New York. I expect you to know who the major players are. I expect you to have a point of view about their work. I expect you to have a point of view that includes where you realistically fit in their work. If you're pursuing straight plays in New York, with or without an MFA, I mean, if you don't have an MFA, it might be time to invest in one. If you do have one, what's the next chapter? Finding kind of what are the theaters that are producing the things I'm most excited about, and how can I show up? How can I be a part of those scenes? How can I get involved? What's the most useful thing? Do they do free readings? Do they do programming that makes sense? I mean, all of that kind of becomes the questions to ask. And then just, I think the internet has helped us immensely because we all have so much access to information in ways that we never did before. So things to think about.